Okay, getting settled here. I have my matcha. Yeah, I'm making matcha now. I don't know. So you know my new approach to stuff and minimalism and seeing whether or not something is worth it is to see how much value it brings to you. I'm putting this down. I'm not that casual. I have to think about this. I've been ditching a ton of stuff from my life. I've stopped spending money on a lot of things, but I do still spend some money on some things. So these are 10 things that I spend more money on as a minimalist. And you guys, I really had to think hard about this because I am still in debt and I'm cutting things from my budget everywhere I possibly can. But when looking critically at my budget and at my spending each month, there are places that I'm allocating money more often than others. So these are the 10 things that I am spending more money on, or I guess that I still spend money on, whatever you want to call it. And I want to thank SKILLSHare today for sponsoring this video, but more on them later. The first thing I spend more money on still is tech and camera gear. And that's because I have a YouTube channel. One way that I am actually making a little extra money to put down towards my debt is through my YouTube channel. I also have an Instagram account and I do often get sponsors. So it is a viable income stream for me. It's something that I love, it's something that I enjoy, and it's something that I want to make sure is high quality and looks good, sounds good, and brings a lot of value to you guys. I want you to enjoy your experience while you're here. I've purchased cameras, sound equipment, lighting, SD cards, cloud storage. So I still definitely allocate funds into my setup, my camera gear, and all the things that are required to maintain it. The second thing I spend more money on now is drugstore skincare. So minimalism is all about less being more. And I also learned that with my skincare. I was using all sorts of fancy, expensive, newest high-end skincare, or all the latest clean beauty and plant-based this and essence that and essential oil everywhere else. And my skin was not happy with me. And so much so that I ended up getting a rash. And I think just from being too complicated with my skincare. So I dialed it right back. The more I simplified my skincare, the better my skin got. So maybe minimalism really works well in your space and in your finances and in your closet. It also works well in your beauty routine, I'll say. The next thing I still spend money on is Patreon. So I think Patreon is actually a really awesome community. There's a lot of amazing creators that create a lot of amazing content for us right here on YouTube, all for free. And if you want to support them in another way, then Patreon is a great place to do that. So right now I support 2 people on Patreon. I support Ron Banks, who's one of my favorite minimalist creators here on YouTube, and I support Matt Diavella. For me, it's worth it to show my support every single month. It's like $5, but one thing I will say is I'm on the Dave Ramsey plan, and even when you're in debt, giving is still the first line on the budget. So Patreon is just one place that I like to continue my giving. The next thing I spend more money on are books and audiobooks. Mostly audiobooks though. I don't really read books. Although I'm getting into the habit of reading books, I mostly still read audiobooks. So I never used to be a reader or even a listener to books at all, but in 2020, I really adopted that as a new habit. Where I essentially listen to an audiobook every day while walking to work. So for about 15 to 20 minutes a day, I just pop on an audiobook. And I really like to dive into books that sort of reaffirm the direction that I am taking myself. And just so I can learn a little bit more about this whole new world that I'm in, whether it be finances and learning about money and investing and other ways to get out of debt, to minimalism, to self-compassion and self-care. And it's an experience that I really enjoy. So it's a place that I'm happy to put a little money into. The next place I still spend money is on fitness. I definitely face a lot of resistance and distractions when it comes to staying fit and working out. And fitness is really important to me. Investing a little bit of time in my fitness and just getting moving comes back at me tenfold in terms of my mental health, in terms of how I feel about myself, my productivity, my sleep, my digestion. So I am definitely one of those people who sees a lot of value out of exercising. But because I'm not really a self-starter when it comes to that, I get a lot of value of buying exercise classes. So I still invest money in buying workout packages or buying real-time live Zoom classes. Because for me, it's that extra motivation or knowing that somebody's watching you or someone's kind of yelling at you in real time. For me, it just gives me that added boost to work a little harder and also to get my money's worth. And also, I think in the pandemic, there's been a lot lot of call to action for us to try to support local and support small biz as much as we can. So a way that I like to do that is by supporting my favorite fitness instructors. A lot of the time they are their own business. So it's a place that I feel like I can get a lot of value and I can send my support with my dollar that way too. The next place I still spend money is on coffee and coffee supplies. Now I know some of you said you watch Graham Stephan. I think my at-home coffee costs a little bit more than 20 cents a day. And I did the math on my matcha. It costs about $1.60, but it's still better than the $5.75 plus that I would spend on a special out matcha. So really, in order to make room to cut coffee from our budget, I've actually added coffee to our budget. Let me explain. So we've been making coffee at home pretty consistently for a few years now. So there is a line in the budget for coffee and coffee supplies. So things like beans, Chemex filters, because we use the Chemex most often. And we also allocated some funds this year to sort of upgrade our coffee system. We ended up getting this Stag slow pour kettle because we're hipsters and we like that Chemex pour over coffee, and it makes for great B-roll. So that's what I mean by that. We still spend money on coffee and coffee supplies, but just not in a place where we used to. And I know a lot of people get annoyed with the whole make your coffee at home thing when you want to save money, but it's legit, it works. And there's a reason that so many financial people talk about that when you are looking for places to cut costs in your budget. The next place we still spend money is on high quality furniture. Now, I'm not looking by any means to go redecorating this apartment and to upgrade our furniture and whatever. I am perfectly fine sleeping on my IKEA bed and using my lamp that I got from Walmart over 10 years ago, but in places where it's needed, we definitely still put money into high quality furniture. So this year, I've really ramped up my output on YouTube, and I do everything myself. I film, I script, I edit. That's a lot of time sitting at a desk. I was actually getting lower back pain from it, and I was spending money on massages and things like that. It's because we didn't have a proper office chair. We didn't have a proper office setup at all. So I decided to save up and invest some money in the Cadillac of office chairs, and we bought ourselves a Herman Miller chair. And if I could describe a chair as sexy, I would, because that chair is sexy. So I'm not saying you have to go out and buy really expensive furniture, but I definitely see value in investing in pieces that you're going to be using every single day, and that just help kind of make your doing your job every single day safer and easier and more comfortable. The next thing I spend more money on are things when I need it. I guess this is more of like a money behavior that I have shifted as opposed to a particular item that I'm spending money on, but I used to spend a lot of money on stockpiling backups and making sure I had multiples of everything that I would use on a regular basis, instead of waiting for that thing to be almost empty or be completely empty before I go and replace it. At the beginning of the pandemic, I almost regretted this behavior because for some reason everyone was going crazy over making sure they had toilet paper. We never ended up running out of toilet paper, but I used to be that person. I used to be that person that would go and stockpile and make sure we had months and months and months of something, whether it be toilet paper, toothpaste, shampoo, body wash. But now when it comes to things that we use on a regular basis, we just buy it when we need it. So that's kind of a way that we spend more money on those things. The 10th thing I spend more money on are socks and undies. If you've been with me on my channel for a while, then you know that I have been very open about how I would be shopping for new clothes on a weekly basis, but it would have been 5 years before I bought any new socks and underwear. And I used to spend money on the cheapest socks and underwear that I could. I didn't see value in researching fabric and fit, but now I definitely see value in that, because when you're wearing uncomfortable underwear, it's a lot more uncomfortable when you have a wedgie with them versus ones that are softer and high quality and made of breathable material. A wedgie just hits different. So over the past couple of years, I have over time slowly replaced all of my really burnt out socks and undies with decent and long lasting breathable pieces that I like to wear and that are comfortable. But now I really see that nowadays you really shouldn't skimp out when it comes to your undies. And the final place I still spend money on here and there is on education. And I know there's a lot of free information that you can find all over the internet, right here on YouTube and Google and things like that. But sometimes you really just need to zero in on what you really want to learn and what you want to do. But one thing I'm learning is that time is our greatest asset, and sometimes you have to pay for time. And this actually brings me into why I really like Skillshare. Because you can get a lot of free information online. It's very easy to get that information, but you kind of have to know where to look, and you sort of have to dig through a lot of noise and clutter in order to find exactly what you're looking for. And that's a big time suck. When I first started my YouTube channel, I had to learn how to do everything myself, including editing. If you guys are curious, I use Final Cut Pro, and the way I learned at the beginning was really disjoint. I had to Google how to do certain effects that I didn't even know what they were called or how to define it, so it took me a lot of time to learn how to use Final Cut on my own. But there's a great video editing course all about Final Cut Pro from Ali Abdal, who is a fellow YouTuber here and fellow healthcare worker. He's a physician, and in order to sort of hone in my skills, I decided to take his course. What I really liked about it is I could reference back to his videos, and they were really easy to follow to find the information that I needed right when I needed it. So it really saved me a lot of time when I was trying to learn how to edit these videos you're watching right now. So what I really like about Skillshare is that it's an online learning community that has thousands of classes that zeroes in on anything that you might want to learn to do or that you might be looking for. It doesn't waste your time, there's no ads, and a lot of these courses are quick and to the point. And don't forget, the first 1,000 people to click the link in the description will get a free premium membership trial of Skillshare. So minimalists still spend money. And these are the things that I still spend my money on. Leave me a comment down below and let me know the things that you still spend money on, that you still leave a line in your budget for. And if you like this video and want to see more, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It really helps me out. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.